All right, and they're off.
Both picking up the map right away. Fantastic.
That's a good start to this race. Now, there's usually a bunch of items in Escape that these players can collect, but there is one item that they don't want to pick up in the Escape, and that is the map. And it happens to be the open item here in the Sanctuary, so no love for them right off the bat, but it looks like they're going to be routing north here into Lost Woods and potentially checking this woodcutter item.
So, well, at least they got the map out of the way. There are a number of chests in Escape that they know will be something good. Maybe I don't know. Just looks like there's just some arrows sitting in the Lost Woods. But
I'm a big fan of Amazing Ampharos' play here. He pulled on the tree and got a bunch of bombs. That's going to help him out a lot. Because remember, we don't have a sword right now. Bombs can be a big source of damage output.
So with this Link to the Past rando, open mode, but even in casual mode, what you'll see is a number of items throughout the world, typically chest items, pieces of heart that you would see throughout the world on the overmap. They are all randomized among each other. There's also things like you'll get swords in random locations. So every item in this game has been randomized. So that way, the runners themselves have no idea what they'll find when they go to a chest or what they'll pick up. But they do need a number of key items in order to progress through the game, because the gameplay is exactly the same. You have to collect 7 crystals to get into Ganon's tower and go kill Ganon. Like, that is still the same. They'll have to figure out which dungeons have crystals. They'll have to find the items to beat those dungeons and go kill Ganon.
And importantly, while everything is all shuffled up, all these items are shuffled, there is logic in place to ensure that it is completable. So everything should be completable, but they may have to take a lot of roundabout routes in order to accomplish their goal here. And we can see these guys going straight to Kakariko Village early on, because there's a number of items you can collect here that don't require any prerequisite items to access. So this is a good opportunity to snag some gear, and if they do find a couple major items, that may clue them in on where potentially they can go next.
So considering they don't have a sword, there are a few items that they're probably also looking to get. Something like getting a bow and arrow. The hammer is a great item to have because it actually does the same amount of damage as an upgraded Master Sword, which we call the Tempered Sword. So if they could find something like that too, that could really help them deal some damage.
Well, how about a mushroom? That bottle vendor just gave him a mushroom. We've got our first major item here. You can trade that in at the witch's hut to cash in on an item. Seems okay.
Maybe. More often than not, I just get trolled by the witch, so we'll see if it pays off.
These guys also did get an early bottle, so they can visit the sick kid, grab an item here. It looks like it's a full heart, which isn't bad. It's nice to get your health up, especially when you don't have a weapon in hand.
Good old mushroom. An expensive mushroom at that. 100 rupees.
Hey, I mean, shrooms.
That's right. So, smbai here taking a look at the bookcase, which you normally need dash boots to get. I mean, you definitely need dash boots to get it, but it's just red rupees, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, and Pegasus boots are definitely an item that these players will want because it makes them go fast. But it might be possible that that item is in Ganon's tower. It's actually possible that could happen.
Oh,
so we could have a slow race on our hands in theory. So Amazing Ampharos cleaning out the town, and smbai is heading perhaps towards that witch. Wanted to ensure that he made a sound investment in that mushroom, and we'll see what it yields.
It's interesting. Normally, if this would be casual mode, you'd get through Kakariko, and then you'd head south, which is where Moldorm cave is. You have to kill 4 Moldorms in there. Now, the only way our racers have to kill those Moldorms is with bombs. So it's not a good choice, I would say, in this particular instance. But normally you want to kill them off because there's 5 items in that chest. So let's see what the mushroom gives.
Yeah, this could be a big play.
Wow, Titan mitts.
That was definitely a huge play. And we see Amazing Ampharos putting his mind to work with that mushroom. Again, I mean, if you're paying 100 for a mushroom, it better be worth it. And so today it's worth it.
With Titan mitts, they could actually go into escape. The last part of escape just by the cemetery, where there's using bombs, there's 3 items there that they could also pick up. It looks like smbai is going to head down towards eastern area. See what's behind Sahasrara, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a decent play. You can also head into Eastern Palace if he likes. He won't be able to complete it because he doesn't have the bow, but it does give him an opportunity to check a bunch of items without having any other prerequisite items as well. It is also of note that those Titan's mitts do gain them access to Death Mountain, where a couple items could be collected here too.
Oh yeah, Death Mountain always a good place to go. Well, they need a little more than what they have now, but Death Mountain does have a lot of chests. If they had Hookshot or Mirror and Hammer, they could get to the right-hand side, which is where most of the items are on Death Mountain. So Eastern itself has 3 unique items that can be gained in there. You might have to kill the boss in order to get the 3rd one, which means you need the bow. But there should be 2 items I think they can get without needing anything. I'm trying to think if you have to kill any enemies. There are pots that would help them to get through a certain room. So I think they're okay.
And it looks like there is a deviation of routes here.
Nice.
smbai, after collecting the items behind Sahasrara, which was just a bunch of rupees and a heart piece, decides to head into Eastern Palace. Again, he doesn't have the bow and arrow to complete it, but if he finds it in here, that'll be a jackpot. Whereas Amazing Ampharos is heading south, like you mentioned. He does have a bunch of bombs because he farmed the tree, and so he could head over to the mini Moldworm Cave and cash in on a bunch of items here.
Well, let's hope he's not trolled by those Moldworms.
True.
So smbai deciding to restart at house instead. Maybe he didn't like having to go through to Eastern, and he's going to go take a look at the South.
Not a bad plan. He looked at the first chest, and that's a bit of a roundabout to
look
check
at
out.
this B play by AA over here.
Clever play from Amazing Ampharos. Very nice play.
Well, it's a shame he doesn't have a bug net, because then he could recapture the magic bee and just always use it. Oh, there's the bow.
So it looks like smbai's play here paid off, and he's also using the B strats. These guys are seasoned veterans, know how to use their weapons.
So now that our runners actually have a bow, they are able to kill off some enemies. Now, ammo's a bit limited, so they do have to watch themselves, but at least they can do some damage if they need to.
You can see this crab trolling Amazing Ampharos here. That's pretty...
They are no joke. They hit you for 2 hearts.
Yeah.
So, Amazing Ampharos and smbai heading up towards the Ice Rod Cave. There's just 1 item up here, but it's something you can get early on that you don't really need anything but bombs to go access.
But again, without a sword, all these enemies are just in the way, and you gotta play a bit safe. You can see smbai really juking these crabs here.
You know, arrow upgrades are probably nice when your only weapon is the bow.
And that is a nice weapon to have early on. These players have found an excellent weapon to have early on in the game. And if they find silver arrows, It's gonna get pretty spicy.
So they could theoretically go finish Eastern. I don't know if it's a pendant dungeon or a crystal dungeon, but they have the bow, and that's what you need to go fight the boss there. And there are a lot of pots that drop arrows, so they can actually farm for some arrows over there. But it looks like Amazing Amphros is heading over towards Desert. There's at least one item they can get. He has the book, so he can access Desert Palace.
And it looks like he's taking a pit stop here to grab some rupees. You do need 500 rupees in order to collect the Zora item. You gotta pay him big. Or normally it's flippers, but in this case, in Randomizer, it could just be 1 rupee. 500 for 1. No big deal. Interestingly, smbai taking fake flippers over here. He doesn't have flippers, but you can perform a minor glitch trick to get you in the water and check this hobo item.
Now, glitches aren't actually required in the randomizer logic, so if he does get something good here, it's sort of a sequence break. But it's just a shield.
Sequence breaking the shield. I mean, you gotta use every single item to your advantage, and that's just another one he has at his disposal.
He can't really fight all of the enemies, so being able to at least block some of their attacks could be useful. Keep them alive.
Gotta take what you get.
Alright, we're taking a look at the cave in Desert. Seeing if we have something good here. Silver arrows! Wow. Silver arrows are amazing.
That is amazing pickup right there. That's some huge firepower. This gamble from Amazing Amphros, I mean, he's not able to finish Desert because he doesn't have a fire source. But coming over here and snagging the silver arrows improves his attack power by a lot.
Mm-hmm. So if he does make his way over to Eastern later on, okay, we have a pendant dungeon in Eastern. Bombos is sitting on the ledge at Desert there, and the other 2 Light World dungeons are crystals. Now, this randomization, we have crystals in Light World dungeons, and we'll also have pendants in Dark World dungeons. So it's not like you have to go through all of the Dark World dungeons. I mean, maybe they have items that you need, but the crystals you need to go into Ganon's Tower are randomized, and in this case, we have 2 that are in the Light World.
And so, Amazing Amphros, equipped with his silver arrows, is gonna head into Desert here and grab himself a lamp. Beautiful item to find here.
No dark rooms. Oh, unless smbai doesn't find the lamp right away.
Now, unfortunately for him, he needs to grab that key on the bonk torch there in order to complete the dungeon. He needs to be able to access the big key. And the big key is likely going to be on the right side of that dungeon.
That is good news, though, because that means we're not going to get dash boots in Ganon's Tower. It's guaranteed, since it's a crystal dungeon, to pop up sooner, I think. Yeah,
that's got to be good for these guys. Now, interestingly, we saw Bombos on the ledge out there in Desert, and Amazing Amphros deciding, you know what, I don't really need that right now. I'm just going to leave it there and come back later.
It is another way to kill off enemies, so it's an interesting choice. But I guess you don't really want to waste that much time picking up a spell. So, Amazing Amphros heading on into Eastern, I believe, where smbai is going to pick up his own silver arrows.
Yeah, he's right hot on the trail here. But really nice routing from Amazing Amphros. Now that he has the silver arrows and the bow, he's going to be able to just full clear Eastern if he wants to.
That's right. There are some dark rooms in Eastern Palace. Maybe that's what smbai was thinking earlier when he dipped in and decided to leave. So, I mean, you could do them in the dark, but it's just easier if you happen to have lamp. And I think the randomizer logic assumes that you'll have lamp before you can go in deeper.
Correct. Absolutely.
You don't have to do dark rooms in order to progress. Again, it's sort of like a sequence break. So let's see if smbai decides to pick up Bombos when he sees it over there.
So, do we know which pendant is in Eastern?
I think it's the red pendant.
Okay, so not green, which is important.
Right. So the green pendant would get you an item from Sahashala, the old man that's sitting by Ethan. He would give you an item if you show him that you have the green pendant. So otherwise, you could collect all 3 pendants in order to get an item from the Master Sword pedestal.
Since we haven't seen any of these guys enter the Dark World yet, we are unsure of which dungeons in the Dark World are pendants and which are crystals, but we'll know once they get to the Dark World and open the map, then we'll know exactly which one the green pendant is, and in theory, they may have to collect all of them to unlock an item at the Master Sword pedestal.
So smbai rewarded with the lamp, which I'm sure he's pretty happy about finding this early in the run, and it looks like he's going to go over and collect bombos.
I like the choice. It gets you an item that you might potentially need, you won't forget about it, and it's just done and out of the way, and you might even be able to use it for some firepower later.
Amazing Emperor's putting those silver arrows to use. Like I mentioned, there are plenty of arrows that you can pick up in this dungeon, so it's not really a big deal to just go ahead and use it as your primary weapon.
So smbai is trying to make the trek across the desert here. I wonder where he's going to end up next. Maybe he's going to head to Zora.
Maybe. I'm sort of curious why he didn't save and quit, especially because a save and quit would actually give him a bit of a health refill. He is a bit low at this point with only 1 heart.
It's a fair point, but I think walking it might be about the same time difference. It's not pretty close.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to Zora. Maybe fake flippers.
It's notable that in this current build, there's a flaw in the logic that gives Zora a much higher chance of having an important item than intended.
Hey, if you know your stuff,
Oh
that's
my goodness.
the case, and that's a huge
Wow.
play for you. But wow, the Butter Sword has appeared in Eastern Palace.
So now this is sort of just like casual. Amazing Empress has the Butter Sword. He can do whatever he wants. Wow. This
Except
early.
go to the Dark World. He does not
That's
have
true.
the Moon Pearl. So that is still an outstanding item, and if it is here at Zora, then this could be a big play for smbai. Just has to watch his health.
Amazing Empress making his way up towards Death Mountain. As I mentioned, there are a lot of chests there, but he has no way to get to the right-hand side of Death Mountain, so he might only be able to pick up a couple of items.
Right. But those couple of items, like the Zora item, have a higher chance of being something useful due to some unexpected problems with the logic.
Wow.
Mirror
from Zora. Very
Wow.
nice.
So that's a good edge for smbai here, despite not having a sword at the moment. And we do see a blue mail here from the Lost Old Man. It's like, have my old clothes. You can put those on. Here's a banana hat.
So smbai might be also making his way up to Death Mountain. He has Mirror, which actually means he can make it up towards Takara if he chooses to.
Let me see. Spectral Rock with 5 rupees sitting inside of it. So, I mean, it's nice to have that blue mail, but no progression made from Amazing Ampharos towards getting to the Dark World or anything.
It's not that bad, though. I mean, you have to go up there anyway, and having the old man return to the cave means you can use him as a warp point. So he doesn't spend that much time going up there. It looks
Very
like
true.
Amazing Empress is going to go take a look at the cave in Escape to see what 3 items are there.
Great idea. If you've been used to playing casual mode runs, which, you know, have been the available format for a while, It's easy to forget these items in Escape, and potentially they may have to go into Hyrule Castle and collect some of the items, deep within. Maybe Moon Pearl's in there, so those could be awesome options as well. So it's good on him to think on his feet like that.
Well, it helps him buy more from Zora because he did pick up 300 rupees there, but that's about it. Smbai picking up his blue tunic from the old man, and getting a health refill while he's at it.
Yeah, if I were AA at this point, I'd probably be going through the first half of Escape as well to try to find Moon Pearl or something.
There actually is a number of items in Escape, and as you mentioned, Ali mentioned that it could be, you have to remember to go back there at some point to get those items.
So it looks like Amazing Ampharos is heading towards Zora, so this is going to be big for him. But what's nice for smbai is after coming up here to Spectacle Rock, he can just mirror and head straight to Hera. But he doesn't have the Butter Sword, so he can't check Ether. So these guys have like small advantages over each other in different ways, which is really interesting based on the routing decisions.
So I think in the spirit of open, Amazing Ampharos should not use his Butter Sword until later on. Just never use it. So there are 2 unique items in Tower Hera itself. One of them might require you to beat the boss there. Of course, eventually our runners will want to kill the boss here because it's a crystal dungeon.
We do see the compass downstairs, so even if this happens to be a key, then he can actually go downstairs and light the torches, but it is the big key, so he's going to be heading upstairs. Doesn't have a lot of arrows left, unfortunately, so he's going to have to be really careful with his ammo. And I don't believe he has a way of actually killing the boss here in Tower of Hera unless he finds his sword or the hammer.
Ooh, bomb strats on the jellyfish. Interesting.
Hey, if you're out of silver arrows, you gotta improvise.
So now that Amazing Ampharos has a mirror of his own, it looks like he's gonna head into tower. Of course, he can check the tablet right outside of the tower for an item since he has a Master Sword upgrade and the book. Ooh, we're getting a bomb jump from smbai here. Oh, missing it though.
It's unfortunate.
I know how to do the dash boots version of the bomb jump. Doing the static version, it's a little more precise for where you have to stand, so I'm not quite sure where it is.
We did get a glimpse of the map here while Amazing Ampharos was heading to Mirror, and it looks like Turtle Rock is the blue pendant, and Palace of Darkness is the green one.
Oh, just a map.
And sadly, he cannot defeat Moldorm, which would likely have the key required to access. I think it has to have the key to access the basement of Hera. So he's going to have to find a different way to go. It looks like he might be heading down into Escape or heading towards Aghanim.
I don't think he has a way to get into Aghanim without the cape or a sword.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He's using that shield, though. He's blocking those lances or whatever those guys are throwing. Javelin.
Shield MVP of the run so far.
I think so. I think so.
So, whenever I mention unique items in dungeons, I'm talking about anything that could potentially be an upgrade. It could also be something like rupees or bombs or arrows, but it's basically anything that's not a normal dungeon item, which would be the compass, map, small key, big key. Anything else, I would call them like unique items, and those are what the runners are looking for, because they could potentially be an upgrade that they need.
Oh, the key is in that chest there. Moldorm doesn't.
Oh, was
have
it? Oh,
yeah.
There it is. Okay, he could have actually gone downstairs. He definitely could have gone downstairs.
Yeah, so it might have just been a time commitment choice.
Right.
So it looks like both of the items in Tower Hera are on Moldorm and also in the basement.
Obviously, the two best spots.
So smbai making his way through Escape, gonna pick up the chests that are around. And Amazing Ampharos is gonna go kill Moldorm. Get his first
that
crystal.
butter sword is really coming in handy right now.
Yep.
It's getting him to clear through these things pretty quickly.
I'm expecting him to do the basement after this, regardless of what happens as well.
It's good to just knock it off your list. Get it
Look at
done with.
that. Butter sword, 2 slashes done.
And we do
And a
have
bee
a
bottle.
bee in a bottle.
So that is their second bottle, which also contained a bee. Shoutouts to Vitor. Okay, looks like he's going to head back in and tackle the basement, which also should contain an item at this point. Since we've seen the map and compass, we know that that has to be an item. Well, is that Corporal Spider? If I say it right, I don't know.
Yell spider.
The dungeons have a different collection of small keys. So in Tower Hera, there's only one small key. But if they go to, let's say, Palace of Darkness, there's like, I think 5 chests that have small keys. So it really depends on the dungeon. Some dungeons have more small keys than others.
Now, what's interesting here is they didn't receive, or I guess smbai didn't receive a key yet in Escape, so he's going to enter it the other way from the opposite direction, because there's one chest in the sewers that if you have a key, you can get access to in reverse here, or you can actually open up the altar from the opposite direction. Since he doesn't have a key, he knows that last chest is a key. And he's fine.
So Amazing Ampharos picked up flippers in Tower Hera basement, which is nice. Now, they've already smbai fake flipper to check what the hobo was, but it still helps you to beat Swamp later on because you need flippers in order to beat it. He could also go and pick up the magical boomerang that was sitting by Zora, but I don't think our races will do that.
Yeah, we know that the flippers aren't an immediate progression item already. So they might be something, or they are something that they need long-term, but they're not going to help them get to the next point here. So it looks like they have to kill Aghanim right now.
Oh, man, we have a shield.
Certainly looking like it. I wasn't tracking the number of items that they received in Eastern, but I know Amazing Ampharos did save and quit just after receiving the Butter Sword and decided not to kill the Armos Knights. So maybe we check and see how many items were here when smbai goes in. Because if he forgot to get something in Armos, that could also be a play.
Right. I mean, it is a pendant dungeon, so I guess our runners might be reluctant. But if they are thinking about going to beat Aghanim, it could be worth just a quick stop, kill Armos, if it is an item, rather than going through and killing Aghanim. When you kill Aghanim, it also powers up the light world, so it's a little more difficult. Not too bad if you're just dashing around or anything, but it is, a bit of a time consumption there. A lot of hearts for smbai.
He's getting a lot of those hearts, and it looks like the first chest I remember when he stopped in here was 50 rubies, and he just got a piece of heart, and we know the Butter Sword's in here, so all 3 items are accounted for. It's just a matter if they want to gamble for the Master Sword pedestal with this red pendant.
That's right. So there's a chance that Aghanim's required because the item on Pyramid could be Moon Pearl, or it could just lead them to getting Moon Pearl.
But you also need Pegasus boots to access that item. these runners do not have at the moment.
If it's the logging item, which we saw was just a heart.
Right.
But it could be something like shovel, which you dig up, I don't know, hammer, which goes to the eastern side of Death Mountain. It could be goofy like that. The randomizer's doesn't always give you exactly what you're looking for, but it'll help. It should help if that's required. It will definitely help them progress.
What's interesting about this seed so far is they haven't found a lot of the major items required to progress through dungeons necessarily. I mean, they do have the bow, which is a big boon, and they'll have that powerful sword. So they're like, equipment and combat ability is amazing, but they need to find a lot of stuff right now. And so it's going to be a hunt and a lot of different routing decisions that's going to set these players apart.
I just want to point out that I think we know that the Armos have the compass.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so yeah. No need to kill
So
him.
Amazing Aphros looks like he's going to go kill Aghanim. Wasting no time, just going to go and deal with it. He opened most of the chests. I don't think he did the one behind the throne. So I'm not sure if that would be something good or not. They got the map in Sanctuary, so it's something, and they also have the small key. I noticed he had a small key in that dungeon, so it is an item, but it looks like he's just gonna go kill Aghanim. And smbai gonna make his way up to Tarahera, probably gonna take a quick stop at the tablet to go pick it up now that he has a sword, and then he'll probably just go get his first crystal.
And hopefully flippers while he's at it.
Yep.
In that basement.
So we call it the butter sword, but it just melts enemies, doesn't it? It's like the opposite of its namesake.
Close enough.
And of course, this would all be dark if our runners didn't have a lamp at all. And good luck navigating these pits here. Normally, if we do happen to do a dungeon lampless, which could happen in casual mode as well. So in open mode, both the light world and the dark world dungeons are dark unless you have the lamp. In casual mode, it's just the dark world dungeons. When I happen to do a lampless dungeon, I'm usually using my sword to like poke on the walls so I know where I am and I can sort of see where I am. But those are just ledges in the dark. I can imagine that you fall a lot if you try to do this lampless.
Yeah, I think that the Aghanim's tower is by far the hardest dungeon in the dark.
2 whole floors that are in the dark.
Though, ironically, escape might be even harder, perhaps, or right up there.
That's true.
That is very true. Fortunately, the enemies in Escape are a little bit more forgiving. The ones in Aghanim's tower are pretty brutal.
So smbai picking up his flippers. He'll go up and kill Moldorm now, and Amazing Aphros about to go tackle Aghanim. Aghanim won. No big deal. 6 hits and he's down.
So what do you guys think is going to be on the pyramid?
I hope it's a troll, but they don't have too many places they can check. They're missing dash boots, so they can't really finish desert. Actually, no, it has to be something good, doesn't it? I'm hoping for hammer.
I don't
Let's
think
get
there's
hammer.
anything else they could get unless they take a key from the later side of desert and like try to open up a different side, the other side of it. There's a little trick you can do where you steal a key from the later part of desert. And
Well, I
in
mentioned
theory,
there's-
that can sequence break a little bit.
There's still that one chest in Escape that Amazing Aphros opted not to check. So there's still a chance that that could be something instead of killing Aghanim.
I thought that had to be a key, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, he had a key
Oh,
at
he
some
did,
point.
okay.
At least I think he did. Single arrow bombs. Chat is so nice. It's the flute. All right.
I think we know what that means. I don't know if it's immediately obvious to everyone, but there's one spot in particular that's going to have an item right now.
Right. So the flute gives them access to the ledge that's in desert. And on the ledge, you can take a portal to go to the dark world. Now, of course, he's still a bunny when you go into the dark world. So there's only one item there. You mirror back into the light world to get onto a different ledge, and that's the item. That apparently is where the seed wants him to go. smbai just picked up his first crystal. Also a bee in a bottle, which I guess is important.
And I imagine he's gonna head to Aghanim's tower as well. I don't think he has too many other options.
Yep. And we have the duck. So Amazing Amphros wasting no time, heading right on over the desert to go get that item. And smbai is starting to make his way up Aghanim's tower, which should actually be fairly quick since he has the butter sword. Game doesn't really expect it at this point. You have at most the master. Well, you should have the master sword for this in the base game.
Yeah, and all these enemies will die in one hit from the butter sword. It's pretty amazing. And now with that flute and the mirror tactic here, Amazing Ampharos grabs Bombo, so a nice decision to just leave it there. You can go snag that now. I like it.
Now he can't beat Desert. It's a crystal dungeon, but he can't beat it until he gets the big key in Desert itself, which, as I think Ali you mentioned before, that he needs to get that small key in order to get where the big key is.
Right, which does require the Pegasus boots.
All right. The payoff is Hookshot.
So we still don't have Moon Pearl, but we just grabbed an item that is really valuable for checking the east side of Death Mountain.
Yep.
Is it so? Do you think going to the east side of Death Mountain is worth it, Jet?
Oh, absolutely.
I never heard you say anything good about that
Absolutely.
place.
I tell everyone, if you can get there, go there. Do not waste any time. Just go to the right-hand side of Death Mountain. There's like 8 items in the light world, like 7 in the dark world. It's just, it's payoff. Just go. Don't even question it. Just go.
It's probably the most lucrative area in the game. Now, sometimes that doesn't pay off anyways, but there's good odds you're gonna find something in here. And with these players having a lot of outstanding items, we're probably gonna see a fair number of things.
I have a feeling he's going to get Moon Pearl, which would be really nice if he gets Moon Pearl here, because he can immediately portal into the Dark World side and pick up the items there.
Ask and you shall receive.
Wow. Called it.
But we're just getting this party started. Let's check all these chests up in here.
Got some hearts for extra protection. Hammer. Wow. Bad gloves.
Bad gloves. Is that what it's called?
They're so bad. smbai killing off Aghanim now. He'll be rewarded with the flute, which I'm sure he'll also go right to Desert and pick up the item there. So they're actually fairly close to each other.
Definitely. I mean, finding the remaining items is really what's going to set these runners apart. Their routing is going to be tested here as they start exploring the Dark World.
So Amazing Empress immediately puts the Moon Pearl to use and heads on in Dark World. Now, there is still one chest that he could have checked, which is in the Spiral Cave, and maybe he'll do that after he's done in the Dark World section here. But it's just one chest, but it still could be something good. All right, SMI picking up the flute.
Yeah, this is big for him. He's on a path now. And with Turtle Rock being a pendant, it'll be interesting if Amazing Empress decides to check what the requirements are, because in theory, there could be some hidden value in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they do in this position. I rarely see as a pendant dungeon, but actually my race the other day, it was a pendant dungeon, and I briefly thought, like, should I go take a look and see what the emblem is anyway, just in case, and I opted not to.
Like, what if Pegasus boots are in there? That's definitely something that could happen.
Oh, I would love that. That would be so troll. This needs to happen. Actually, I really want to see the Master Sword pedestal finally have something that's required.
That would be pretty fun. So it looks like smbai is going to activate the flute. We see quarter magic gained by Amazing Amphros here. A very nice luxury find here.
Now he can just use bombos all the time. Perfect. So that's Hookshot Cave. Sometimes you'll get something worth. I mean, having the magic upgrade there is useful. Looks like he's going to now do the Spiral Cave and get that last item here up on Death Mountain.
Always good to clean that out. The only outstanding item on Death Mountain, without going into Turtle Rock, basically, is the Cane of Burna Cave. And so that's something they'll probably have to come back for, because I don't think they have a potion that can help them right now.
They would have to go buy potions, so they could damage boost their way through. It's filled with spikes. Ideally, you want the Cane of Burna itself or the Magic Cape in order to get through. But if you have a couple potions, I think actually you just need one if you have enough hearts. You could just refill your health and just tank it.
So it looks like smbai is going to get his payoff. He notices that, yeah, Meyer does require bombos, which is great because, I mean, they just collected it from right there.
Yep. So something yesterday SMI was talking about was that he's recently been trolled on all of his seeds, where the last item he's received was Quake, and that was true last night during his race. Spoilers for anybody, Quake was the last item he needed. So probably seeing bombos sitting there, and that was the required one for his dungeon, not too bad. So he just picked up Hookshot, and he'll probably make his way up to Death Mountain. And Amazing Amphros starting to clear out the village of outcasts. Looks like dipping into Thieves Town right away.
It's a good play. You have everything you need to complete the dungeon, and you can check a bunch of items here along the way and make some progress towards the goal. I like it.
So what was the third pendant dungeon? We have Turtle Rock, Eastern,
Palace
and
of Darkness.
Ah, Palace of Darkness.
Final pendant. And that is the green pendant, interestingly. So if Sahasrara has a required item, then they may have to full clear, or at least beat Helmasaur in order
Maybe
to
I should have had you make this seed. It would have been a little trollier, I think.
Why are you assuming the worst in me?
It's not you. It's just the way the randomizer treats you.
Hey, we haven't seen the hammer yet. We haven't seen...
Oh, no, they have the hammer. Or Amazing Emphros has the hammer.
Yeah.
And smbai is about to find it here.
Oh, okay.
In this cave.
There's got to be something they have left, though. Cane of Samaria?
So,
Red
so they're
Cane
missing...
and Fire Rod
Okay.
are big outstanding items. Dash Boots are important in order to complete Desert.
Okay.
So, Amazing Empress just picked up the Cane of Burner, which I mentioned... He can go through the Spike Cave up on Death Mountain, Dark World Death Mountain. It would help him complete that. So he's actually missing. He's missing Dash Boots, Cane of Samaria, Fire Rod. That's actually it. As far as I can tell, that's what he's missing. Those 3 items.
So we could still have any of those at, for example, the Master Sword pedestal if we want to control the runners.
Yep. And we want to troll the runners.
Well, we can't have Red Cane or Fire Rod at the Master Sword pedestal
Oh,
But
because Turtle
imagine
Rock
if it was
is a
Dash
pendant.
Boots.
So we can have Pegasus boots there, and that would be an extreme troll.
oh, that would be worth the payoff.
So I'm actually curious where smbai is going to head after he's done collecting all these items here. Looks like he's going to clean out the right-hand side of Death Mountain, both in Dark and Light World, and then he has a choice. He might go to the Village of Outcasts, like Amazing Afros, and start like getting these dungeons done.
And Amazing Ampharos picking up the Magic Cape here as well. It's a nice safety item, and it does gain you access to the Bumper Cave in the Dark World. So there is an item you can collect with that cape.
Mhm. The more useful invincibility item compared to Cane of Burner, which doesn't unlock really anything except from Spike Cave, which I mentioned is also the Magic Cape. So it's like
Also known as the Lag Cane.
the Lag Cane.
There's SMBai's payoff with that quarter magic. Beautiful, beautiful quarter magic.
So there's 4 unique chests in Steve's Town here. You usually need to take a look at the big chest here, which requires hammer. So going into here with hammer means you know you can check all of the chests and be done with this dungeon and not come back. That's right, Steve's Town. Another butter sword. That is not a second butter sword. That is either Master Sword or Tempered Sword. But since you already have the best sword in the game, it's just going to show it to you again. Steve is right behind Link right now. That's who you escort. Her name is Steve. It's her town. Alright, smbai finished collecting in Death Mountain. It's going to flute out and head on. Oh, jeez. Yeah, Blind likes hints, or not hints, puns. He likes puns.
And it looks like SMBai is going to be joining Amazing Ampharos in the Village of Outcasts right now. Without the Fire Rod, a lot of players will decide not to enter Skull Woods, which is north of the Village of Outcasts, because they won't be able to complete the dungeon. But if somehow the Fire Rod is there, then it's almost an inherent troll, so...
It's a valid place. That's where you get
Yeah.
it normally in the game. So, why not? So the question is, will smbai decide to head into Steve's Town, like Amazing Ampharos, or is he going to head towards Hype Cave and get some items there?
Yeah, that could pay off big time. We see Magic Powder in the
Magic
C-shaped
Powder.
house. So that could potentially be a required item in order to access the Magic Bat item, which is unlocked with the Magic Powder. And he is right here. He could actually collect that item pretty quickly.
Smbai didn't pick up the Magic Powder, did he?
No, I don't think
So
he
he missed
trekked
the
up to the
C-shaped house.
C-shaped. Yeah.
I hope he doesn't forget if Magic Powder is needed.
I remember that being an issue in a recent race, wasn't it? That
Yeah.
someone forgot that house.
Okay, so here we have the shovel game featuring Alec Baldwin from Beetlejuice. That's what Cross Product likes to say he looks like.
Well, Beetlejuice is trolling today. Only 20 rupees.
It's payback for the shovel game. So how do they make a profit from these games if there's so many rupees? Like the chess game and this game, like what is their business strategy here? I don't understand.
I think they try to just, trick you up and put all of the value in one spot. So you see where where these guys are digging all in one place. They're getting a ton of value very quickly, but if you dug and spread out your digs, then you wouldn't be able to get that value. At least that's what I think.
So we just mastered the game and are getting paid out. I'm sure they love it. And they'll let you play again too, so it's not like they care. They work with the guys who knock the rupees off you. That's right. It's this big conspiracy plot. All right. So the dwarves will give you an item since normally to upgrade your sword. In this case, it's just a piece of heart. And it looks like smbai is gonna do the hammer pegs to see if he gets something here, which is just 50 rupees.
Well, Amazing Ampharos is checking the magic bat, so we'll see if this powder pays off.
smbai gonna decide to do the purple chest, which is an item. In the base game, it's a bottle, but here it could be anything. Piece of heart for magic powder, no big deal. In fact, I think magic powder is just more useful to have in general because you can change the anti-fairies into fairies, which is a nice way to heal. So, this is open mode for anyone who's just showing up now. Open mode is very similar to casual, except you don't start before escape. You can start in Sanctuary or your house, like you just, reloaded the game, save and quit. And you don't start with a sword. That's the most important part. And the light world dungeons are in the dark until the dark rooms are in the dark until you get lamp. Like, those are the big changes for open mode. So smbai gonna take a look at Hype Cave. It has 5 items and it's pretty much always worth to go there.
Why we call it Hype Cave. It always brings the hype. Hope you guys are getting hype for Hype Cave. We already see that Quake medallion here.
Oh, dash boots.
Pegasus boots.
Fire ride. Yep.
Wow.
Lives up to its name.
I found, like, back in the day, this cave used to be the place to be, but recently I feel like it's been a disappointment. But that was the biggest payoff I've seen in that cave in quite a while.
Nice.
So huge for smbai. This is big stuff for him. Now, Amazing Ampharos isn't too far off from that. Hopefully he'll head over there and get his payoff. But he's gonna check a few things along the way.
He's missing Cana Samaria. I think that's actually it. Since he has the bombos to get into desert, smbai is only missing the cane.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Turtle Rock is not required as far as we know. It's a pendant dungeon, so as long as... And Cana Samaria can't actually be up there, which disappointingly means the Master Sword pedestal is not required. That's a shame. So, Turtle Rock is not required at all. The only item our runners are missing is the Cana Samaria.
Which could be in Misery Mire, in theory.
Yep.
So we can hope for that kind of pseudo-troll, but I think that's about the worst place it can be.
It's funny that one of the biggest trolls that the randomizer can do is put items in their vanilla dungeons.
I know. You never expect that. So I do think taking a look at Swamp here is a great choice for smbai. There are 6 unique items in this dungeon, so there's actually a good chance that the Cana Samaria is just in here. And if smbai can find it, he's pretty much going to be in go mode.
He really is. I mean, he's done a little bit more overworld exploration, which has netted him some good value. But I think Amazing Ampharos is going to be right on his heels, and he has completed Thieves Town, so he is 1 crystal up on smbai at the moment.
Although, if smbai heads in there, he won't have to open as many chests and look for the items. So, when he does go back there, he can just quickly get through the dungeon, assuming he finds a Cane of Samaria when he gets back there. So the runners can actually take a look at the map at any point, and the map will show you if a dungeon is a crystal and which number crystal it is, or pendant, and which pendant it is. Like it shows you all of this information when you glance at the map, so that way you can figure out what your route will be.
Right, so for this seed in the light world, we were able to see early on that Eastern Palace was the red pendant, and we know that Turtle Rock is the blue pendant, and Palace of Darkness is the green pendant.
So Amazing Emperor is going to head into the Mire area. There are 2 chests he can get here. He's confirming that the emblem is Bombos, which he has already. So really, he realizes he's just looking for the Cane of Samaria. He gets a
Finds
shovel.
himself a shovel, can dig up some dreams here. If Kane is at the Haunted Grove, he's going to be in go mode.
So if you see a runner pick up yellow bombs or yellow arrows, those are upgrades. So he just got a bomb upgrade, which allows him to carry more bombs. Normally, you would go to a fairy sitting in Lake Hylia. Hylia? I don't know.
Lake Hylia? Yeah.
Hylia, that's it. And she'll upgrade your capacity for you if you throw rupees into the pond. But here, it's a nice little treat that the runners can find instead of just like 3 bombs and 5 arrows.
I think when we talk about doing dungeons the randomizer way, we talk a lot about, in particular, Swamp and Skullwoods, because you can skip all the chests pretty much. But doing Desert the randomizer way is really satisfying. Using the mirror, coming in the back door. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. We see another bee in a bottle.
That's 3 bees in bottles. Pretty crazy.
Bee tour.
That's what we call this, a bee tour seed. And those of you who don't know, Vtorp in the chat is one of the developers on the randomizer, so you can flood his inbox with plenty of questions about the randomizer if you have any.
Yes, please direct all questions about the to Vtor right in chat.
If you're unsure what to do in the randomizer, if you're stuck, he is the expert.
I think he actually put his name into the randomizer too. If the Master Sword pedestal has a bee in a bottle, I think that's the case where it says "and the bee tour sleeps again" or something. Is that what he did? Alright, so Amazing Emperor's gonna kill off Lammolas very quick with the silver arrows. They only take 1 hit. They would take 2 slashes with the butter sword, so either way, it's a quick battle. And smbai almost down at what is it? Argus, that's the one. So Amazing Emperor's picked up his 3rd crystal. And this should be the 2nd crystal, right?
I believe
'cause he didn't do
3rd.
thieves.
Oh, you're talking about smbai.
smbai, yeah, he didn't
smbai
do
2nd
thieves.
crystal, yes.
Alright, let's see what shovel gives us.
This could be go mode. This is the red cane. Red cane could be a lot of places.
I mean, it's pretty much anywhere.
Goodness.
Wow!
Holy
Alright.
smokes, that is an amazing pickup there.
Yeah. Anytime you are at go mode, having all of the required items in under an hour, it's a nice seed.
So Amazing Amphros is now in go mode, which means he doesn't need any dungeon items or unique items. He has the big key in the dungeons that he goes to, and that's it.
And it looks like he's heading towards Swamp Palace, where you don't even need the big key to make progress, as we were
He can
mentioning
actually
before.
skip everything.
Yeah,
just go
he's
right
gonna
to
be
the boss.
flying through these dungeons really quickly. Same with Ice Palace, which I imagine will be next on his list because it's so close by. I think the only convenience item that he could possibly want is like red mail, but I don't think he's going to be searching for that. I think he's pretty comfortable with his 12 hearts and blue mail.
Yeah. And all the bees in the bottles that he has.
True, those come in handy. We saw it used earlier, to be fair.
So smbai is in Mire. He will be picking up the shovel in this. It's a question of will he go and check the shovel item right away? And if he does, he's also going to be in go mode.
smbai getting the 1-frame dash there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So there's the only item you need to get in Swamp, that small key. All the other chests can pretty much be skipped. So now that smbai is at Desert, he can quickly get in here, get the big key, check the items, and beat this dungeon.
Yeah, Amazing Ampharos is ahead by about a dungeon, but there is a chance for smbai to catch up if Amazing Ampharos has some poor routing and gets big keys late, or if he takes a spill, hopefully not, but takes a spill at Ganon or some boss. So, I mean, anything can happen in Randomizer. We've seen so many upsets in the big tournament that we've been having already. And we'll just have to see how it plays out.
I mean, smbai's going to get his third crystal here. They should be getting to the boss at about the same time, though, so he's technically a crystal down. But Thieves Town itself shouldn't take that much time. That's the one dungeon that smbai is missing.
Right, once he gets the big key in Thieves Town, he can just go complete it.
smbai using the mirror, which is the nice side of having the mirror and going by that back door there, is that you can just mirror back out and go right to where the boss area is.
So
You can see Amazing Ampharos just going right past the chest because he doesn't need it. No big deal.
yeah, it is pretty solid on his routing, and he's generally a pretty consistent player in this game. So it's looking pretty good for him. I do want to say, before I forget to mention something, that smbai deserves a lot of credit for doing this run, because he is the only person, well, one other person submitted Link to the Past Randomizer to the marathon to begin with, but then dropped out. So he's the only person that actually submitted this to the marathon from the beginning and followed through on playing it in the marathon. And he also did a run of Super Mario RPG Randomizer and another run of Link to the Past Randomizer a different night to fill some time for us. So yeah, he's done a lot to help out the marathon, and he deserves a lot of credit just for that. So, you know, don't be afraid to follow both these guys.
That's awesome.
Definitely give him a follow.
Let's throw some love in chat for smbai.
So, I mean, as we mentioned earlier, we are doing our Link to the Past Rando tournament right now. And so it definitely was, I would say, difficult to juggle this sort of thing. And so it's really good that smbai was able to take the time to do this run and show this off in the Randomassacre.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool to see different modes being developed for Randomizer that can help create fresh experiences, because I mean that's what randomizer is all about, is creating exciting and fresh experiences of games that we love. And you know, with Link to the Past, I know the development team has been working really hard on trying to create different experiences for different skill levels of players. You know, we have different glitched modes for more advanced players, and like hard modes where you don't get a lot of hearts and no mails and things like that. And then there's an interesting mode that I've heard of, which is a timed Oko mode coming. It's in
That's
the
new.
works, where basically some of the items you're collecting are clocks. And that is going to add to the amount of time that you have until, you know, if your time runs out, then your game goes into Oko mode. One hit KO, one hit and you're down.
So I really feel like the Link to the Past community and Rando have been picking up steam recently. Like, I see it a lot. I do want to point out smbai just picked up Kana Samaria. He's ready. He's in go mode, and it looks like his first dungeon is going to be Meyer.
Interesting
I
choice.
like the
for
choice.
sure.
So Meyer is definitely one of the trolliest dungeons you can do in go mode. There's a lot of chests that just give you a bunch of small keys. You need to find the one master key, and there's a lot of locations to check. So if he lucks out and goes the correct path, and he can find a master key right away and actually make up some time.
Speaking of different modes, Amazing Ampharos, who's racing this, is actually, he on his own made a seed for us, a custom seed that randomized all of the cave entrances in the game, and that was a ton of fun to play. I would, and hopefully we'll get more of those from him or from the development team in the future, because that was another interesting take on randomizer. Takes a bit longer to do, of course, but a lot of fun.
So as a
That's
kid, you
awesome.
might have gone through the Ice Palace here, and you probably have this memory that's a really long dungeon, and the required path, what the game expects you to do, it actually expects you to fall all the way down to the bottom floor here to head back up in order to get a key to open, or I think you have a small key at that point, because you hit a switch and you have to climb all the way back up through Ice Palace to go back down to push the correct block. It's ridiculous. Like, I did it once when I was learning how to actually play randos, and I'm like, this takes forever. I need to learn the bomb jump because I never want to do this again.
And we see an early
Cape
big key
strats.
for smbai and some awesome cape strats from Amazing Ampharos. So these guys are just flying through dungeons now. Super
This would be a
speed.
close one. It might come down to whoever picks the correct side and get in his tower.
It could. It definitely could.
I mean, this, I would say Meyer's like the longest dungeon they had left. It's gonna be, it's pretty much gonna be really quick. I mean, they have Skull Wood, which is ridiculously quick, and Skull Woods, they don't have to do Palace, they don't have to do Eastern. Oh yeah, so Amazing Empress has Meyer and left to do, which will be quick. smbai has to do Skull Woods, Thieves, and Ice.
But what's nice is, since he has Skullwoods and Thieves, those are kind of right next to each other. He can
Yep.
knock those out pretty quickly, and they go by pretty quickly too. So he's not out of it yet, but I do think Amazing Ampharos does have a slight lead right now.
Skullwoods and Swamp are notable because the developers tried to gate those dungeons with the big key by making the item that you find in the dungeon required to finish the dungeon. The Fire Rod in Skullwoods or the Hook Shot in Swamp. But in a randomizer, since those items can be anywhere, it's really unlikely that you're going to be gated in that same way. So
it is an interesting strategy, and I like the variety that the developers put into the game itself. Not always putting that big key as a dungeon door, but you don't really realize that when you're playing through the game in like any percent, just casually. Like you might not have realized like, oh, there is no big door key because you need the item, like you mentioned, you need the item to progress. So that's actually why I really like the randomizer for Link to the Past. It goes really well with what the developers did. Like it works amazingly well as a randomizer. It keeps the puzzle aspect of the Zelda game, but it also provides a fresh look. Like if you play this a lot, it feels like a new puzzle each time you play. Yeah, smbai doing amazing work with Vitreous there. I mean, like he's done. Like he got a crystal. He's done already, picking up a couple of blue potions. You can see how fast it is when you have silver arrows to just do that.
Amazing Ampharos having a little trouble with Mothfield. Decides to switch over to that cape. Makes good use of that quarter magic and knocks him out.
So with Mothula, if you ever hit him in spikes, like if he's against the spikes and you hit him against it, he doesn't take any damage because he's coded to ignore damage from the spikes, and when you bounce him into it, it like cancels any damage that you dealt to him. It's really annoying. You sort of want to hit him when he's in the middle of the room and just push him away from the back spikes, which is where he likes to hang out. Alright, so Amazing Ampharos has 6 crystals. He just has to beat Meyer, and then he's ready to head on up to Ganon's Tower. smbai is making his way through Ice Palace, which will be the longest dungeon he has left.
Yeah, and then it's just Skull and Thieves Town for him, which again are pretty quick dungeons.
Yeah, this
he
is
could catch up pretty quick.
the 230 estimate that we have here is a very generous estimate. This is not going to be anywhere close to that. This is going to be well under 2 hours for both of them.
Maybe if Alucard made the seed.
I'm always to blame, but I'll take that blame today because we have an exciting and awesome race for both of these guys, and their executions are like spot on too. In some of these places, this is a really good race.
So smbai is coming up to the bomb jump in Ice Palace. This is what allows us to skip the big key in this dungeon by performing this bomb jump here.
I like to demonstrate it like 8 times when I do it, just so that people can really experience it.
Nice.
Same.
Looks like first try, no problem.
Makes it look easy.
Not quite sure why he's throwing all the bombs down there in celebration.
Those are the bombs that he would have spent if he missed. You don't want to hold too many bombs, it's a little heavy.
Hey.
There's the big key for Amazing Ampharos. He's ready to go just take on the boss.
Really convenient big key location there.
I dream of it being in like that location. I love when it's there on that bridge. Just get it and get it over with. So probably I would say that Meyer here is the hardest dungeon to do in the dark for casual mode. Due to that room he just passed where he had to put the cane on a button. Like, you can't really see where you are, and those statues just keep firing at you the whole time. It's really annoying. But, you know, lamp, no problem.
Yeah, what's interesting about open mode is for those players who are scared that they may have to do a dungeon in the dark because they don't have the lamp, generally you're going to find that lamp fairly early on in open mode.
It's because it's needed for so many dungeons.
Right. If you get access to the Dark World really early, like maybe you get Titan's Mitts and Moon Pearl, then in theory you may have to do some Dark World hunting for it. But generally, you're going to see that lamp a little bit earlier.
So Amazing
On
Amphras had
average.
over 60 arrows. Why not just use them all here and make quick work of Vitreous? Alright, smbai is going to head on over to the Village of Outcasts area, so he can finish the 2 dungeons that he has left. And then he'll also be ready for Gainus Tower.
Man, these are going to be some amazing times for both of these players.
Wonder if they'll find Ice Rod in Gainus Tower. I mean, there's no reason not to. Could be there.
Could definitely be there. I mean, that's one of the big benefits of not having Turtle Rock as a required dungeon is, you know, that one goes pretty slow, and you have to have both the rods in order to access that dungeon. I like the drop off the ledge there. It was good.
So I want to point out for smbai, the very first chest was the big key. He's done, like, looking in chest here. All he has to do is head on up to the big door and do the standard rail through Thieves Town here. But it's really quick when it's in the first. I mean, it's in one of the first 4 chests. Just getting it right away means, like, you're done and you don't have to look for anything else.
Yeah, he's just flying through here now.
Yeah. He can, if he chooses, open the chest in the sunroom upstairs or the chest right next to Blind downstairs if he wants to, you know, try to get an extra safety or something. But there's not really a lot that he would need at this point. He's got a lot of stuff
there, trolling him.
Count Chocula. I know a lot of people call them the Patrick stars. Patrick's.
So, I actually have a problem where I open this chest upstairs here in Stevestown. Like, I'm just so used to opening it. Even when I try to practice at any percent, I just go and open it. It's just, I'm too used to playing Randomizer, and I'm always checking that for something.
You still
First
play
step
any
is
percent.
admitting that you have a problem, Jeff.
That's right.
I haven't played any percent in a while. I want to do runs again sometime because of the you know, the practice I've had playing any percent, or playing randomizer, so I want to improve my time. But I have some fears that when I play any percent again, then I'm going to forget some of the routes because of being used to routing for opening all the chests.
Alright, here, chat, here's our big thing we like to do. Amazing Amphras just entered Gainus Tower. We like to guess which chest number will be the big key. There's like 22 chests I think they have to check, that any of them could be the big key that they need in order to go upstairs. So it could be in any of them.
That
So
doesn't
let's hear
include
some
that
guesses.
torch item that we just passed over, so... the first item was the bombs.
Yeah, he already opened 2 chests and there's
No,
nothing there.
He didn't. Did he?
Yeah, he did. He opened the 2.
Oh, he did. Oh, they were...
Wow, Mirror Shield and Red Tunic. Well,
Man, the gear is amazing.
SFI is finishing off Blind now. He has Butter Sword, not that it means anything. He has plenty of hearts. This will be quick.
I believe this is the 8th.
Yeah,
chest.
so I'm gonna guess, I like guessing Bob's chest. That's my favorite one when the big key is there, so. Let's see Bob's chest be the one. Bob is, well, hopefully we'll see him and I'll point him out to you guys.
Yeah, hopefully we will see him.
I'm hoping for the tile chest.
Tile chest,
man,
which is
you're
usually
cruel.
the last one checked. That is cruel.
Isn't it that if you don't get the bonk item, then Bob will be there?
Yes.
Yes.
So since he didn't bonk off the lamp that we saw in the beginning of the dungeon, we'll see a nice little glitched anti-fairy.
Which
Alright,
is
so that's 8 chests so far. We got nothing.
it's just a really weird situation in the memory how that could be related. But
Looks like Deranged Squirrel Fighter has an overflow error. And Not even a chest anywhere near this dungeon, and that's over. Alright, let's see if it's by 12. Oh, the single arrow! Very high.
There's quite a
And the
room there.
boomerang.
Alright, so Bob is coming up. It'll be the next chest that we see in Amazing Arrow. But I do want to point out that smbai is already, like, through Skull Woods. He just has a couple rooms left before he gets to Mothula. And then he's done. He's ready to also go to Ganon's Tower.
Right, so if the big key is in the tile room or somewhere on the right side, we could have a pretty close race here.
Oh, Fire Rod strats.
Alright, here's the Bob Chest of Dreams. He's coming up here in this room.
Alright, everyone in chat, let's say hi to Bob. You can't miss him. He's that weird glitchy thing that's bouncing around there in the corner. And he also does, he actually does a lot of damage. There was one time where I opened that chest and he was on top of me. Or I think I was falling into the pit. One of the two. And he just drained my
He'll
magic.
just drain your magic, yeah. If an anti-fairy is stuck on a pit and you're falling
Wow,
in the same
nice quick
spot,
kill.
it'll just drain you.
Very
Yeah.
quick kill for smbai there, which will help him save some time. It looks like the big key is in the right-hand side. So anyone who guessed greater than 16, give yourself a cookie. So smbai, he's done collecting crystals. He just has to head on up to Ganon's Tower. If he chooses right-hand side, it's going to become a very close race.
Especially if it's in the tile room. Because
Just a
looks
little
like-
piece of love.
yeah. It's cool that smbai is showing that off.
AA is gonna have
You
to
can,
restart
read with the
this
book.
room, I think. Yep.
Yeah, he did that too early.
Oh no.
Oh, it's close.
Almost got grabbed by that hand too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
wall master.
Blame Jay Cooper for
Ceiling
jinxing
master.
it.
I don't even try to mess around with this room. I push the block ahead of time and kill the enemies that are in the way, and then
Yeah. I'm trying to get better at doing this room, but I don't get enough practice.
I basically just try to run through it as fast as possible and get bodied by all the enemies. So usually my health isn't like 0 by the time I'm through it, but I might make it through
Alright.
it half the time.
So we have 17 through. Oh, there it is. Right-hand side, chest number 18.
And there's
With a
that
fighter
fighter
sword.
sword.
The fighter sword. That's where it was. Hi.
A fighter sword coated in butter.
Wow. Only open mode. Alright, so Amazing Ampharos is making his way up Ganon's Tower, and smbai will be there shortly. It's a nice, close race that we have going on here.
He really wants that fairy, but it's not cooperating.
AA hit that switch at exactly the
The
wrong
worst
time.
time.
Just
Yeah,
like,
all
A
the
wrong time
spikes.
for him is our benefit.
yeah.
It's usually easier for us to check the left-hand side of Ganon's Tower. There's a lot of items over there, so we frequently just go over there. But every now and then, someone will be like, I'm going to go right-hand side, because I think everyone's going to go left, and they're going to be wrong.
Paratroopa, the fighter sword is a smaller sprite.
Yeah,
Thank-
it really sticks out as a sword item.
Yeah, I think if you're paying close attention to each of the swords, you can see kind of their hilt, and it'll give you an idea of which one they are. But sometimes it's really subtle, like between Tempered and Master Sword.
I mean, SMBI's only a couple minutes behind, and like a big mistake can still win him the race. Like I said, it's a very close match. Getting through this part of Ganon's tower is not going to take that long.
Fortunately, Amazing Ampharos does have that magic powder, so he's able to recover some hearts here. But if he didn't, he would be in big trouble.
The big thing is if smbai decides to do the tower room, because that will consume some time.
I think the biggest thing that could happen here is probably a fall on Ganon for AA. Which, you know,
agreed.
You never know.
Hopefully not. We never wish that upon anyone, but that would definitely make for an interesting race.
So here's where Canis Samaria really shines. It's a great way of getting through these couple of rooms quickly. Just killing the whiz rope things. And since smbai didn't bonk on the lamp, we will get to see Bob again. Always exciting.
Revival bees.
Revival bees. That's what we need. Vitor, get on it. Bees have to act like fairies.
I didn't see AA get anything in a bottle that's helpful. I don't know if he has anything.
No, I mean, smbai even stopped to pick up a potion.
That's helpful. They used a bee early on.
No, that
value in that mini Moldorm cave.
That is the most helpful I've ever seen a bee. That's for sure. But yeah. Bees much less helpful on Ganon.
Agreed.
smbai was knocked off by the mini Helmasaur. The trick here is that you sort of want to actually go up in the middle. You want to dash upwards, because then you push the mini Helmasaur into the pit. But unfortunately, smbai sort of hit him head on, and the mini Helmasaur got revenge. Well, that's right. smbai never picked up the magic powder that was in town. So
no, he never made that.
He needs that potion. He needs that potion. Amazing Ampharos automatically disqualified since he didn't check the Moldorm 2 chests. Disappointed.
Yeah, that's too bad. It was a good race for him.
I don't know why I say that. I never check it, and even Alu was like, "Come on, you gotta check it." No, just no.
I'll check it if I don't have silver arrows, or if I have green tunic or something. If there's some safety I could use at that last moment, but.
I just have to know. There's no decision for
me. There's a little of that in there, too.
So this is not part of the tournament. This is actually different than the tournament. All the races in the tournament are casual mode, which is where you start with the fighter sword and start and escape like in the normal game. Open mode is what the racers here are playing, so it's slightly different than what you'll see in the tournament. Okay, Aghanim 2 is down. All that Amazing Ampharos has left is Ganon. smbai has chosen to do the tower room and get it out of the way, which is a shame because the big key is not there.
Hey, but again, we do get to see what's there.
Exciting.
I'm sure he's not going to be happy about whatever is there.
I'm guessing a piece of heart. There it is.
Ice rock. Oh, nuts.
Right on point.
I just looked at his health and decided that it was pretty likely.
Ganon with the... I think that's just the Link to the Past text.
Nicely done in the torch room there, though, by smbai. Much cleaner than
Fantastic
AA.
execution. Yeah. First try.
So we have some cape strats from Amazing Ampharos. Since he has the Butter Sword, Ganon only takes 6 hits per phase 1 and phase 2. So you can actually get through really quickly. And he's already on phase 3, and he has silver arrows, so he's almost done.
AA enjoys hitting Ganon as much as possible, even more than is required. So.
Did you find the silver arrows in the light world? I like how Ganon tells you that the thing that will kill him is.
Yeah, Would you not?
Oh, he did get the triple.
All evil henchmen.
Oh, that's it. GG for amazing
Wow,
afros.
GG.
And that's it. 129.20.
It's an incredible time. It's a
Someone
fantastic
30.
time.
That's a seed right here. A winner is you. But smbi's right there as well. I mean, he's heading up Ganon's tower, and he'll be done shortly, within the next 10 minutes.
I like the cool strat there on the bridge. He decided to take a fall intentionally, so he could get invincibility frames to just run through that room. It's a pretty cool plan.
Unfortunately, the one downside of having silver arrows is that they can lag the game a little bit if there's a lot of brights on screen. But otherwise, killing things in one hit is very nice.
Sabotaging's homecoming. Lots of little
Well,
Easter eggs that the.
He would have sabotaged you had had you gone and talked to him after beating Palace of Darkness, I guess in this case.
Do we know what the world record is for open mode? Like, we've seen some good times. I can tell you casual, like, I think the fastest time is like, what was it, ACM or something with like 1:16 maybe, something crazy like that.
Sounds about right. I know somebody had done like a version VT8 before. Like, I don't think it was quite the tournament mode. It was kind of during playtest, but they did in 1:10, which was crazy.
Yeah, we don't really look at or care too much about like world record because it's really based on the seed, and if everything falls in place, like I was watching ACM practice yesterday, he made a custom seed where all of the items were like at the very beginning, and he beat it in I think 35 minutes. Like, he knew where everything was, true, but I mean, a random seed, it could really go either way. But on average, I would say a casual seed would take about like 140. I'm not sure about open mode. I assume a little longer because searching for a sword could take a long time.
Boy makes the block again. I like it.
Amazing Airfrost
the red cane.
has his time recorded as 129.20.
Oh, that's right. I started the timer a bit late because I forgot. So added a minute or two to the times. His AA's time he listed is almost surely correct.
Oh gosh, I would hope that smbi doesn't accidentally. That would be the worst. Like Ganon's Tower in general, I don't know how the people who do the one-hit KO version of this game, like, this is hard. One hit, and you have to do this whole thing over again.
It takes some specialized skill to get through it, Oko style, and I haven't done that before, and it sounds pretty intense. Man, both players losing this race.
Oh.
Not picking up that Moldorf 2 chest.
Well, we can always look at the spoiler log later on.
I guess this is just going to be the timeline where the hero fails.
Now it says the broken heart sleeps again. That must be mine. In there.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna finish about like within 5 minutes of each other, which is not bad at all.
It's super solid.
Man, I want to refill my water quick. You guys can take this for a couple minutes.
All right.
You can trust us. All right, so smbai has killed off Aghanim for the second time. Heading on over to Ganon. He has Butter Sword. He has Silver Arrow. He has a bunch of hearts, so this should be quick.
Yeah, he should be well equipped to rock this fight.
So yeah, since they did kill Aghanim twice this seed, I can see how Ganon taunts them with that.
Makes sense.
Wow.
Solid
Shotting
hookshot
right
strat
through.
there, yeah.
I mean, I've done a number of seeds where you only have green tunic on Ganon, and those fire bats. Ganon himself does a ton of damage if you happen to walk into him.
Does
But
like 4 hearts of damage, yeah.
And the fire bats do something like 3 hearts. It's a lot of damage that you could take here.
And they can combo you and chain together for even more damage.
See
It
if he
is
gets the
definitely a
free hit in.
brutal fight.
Oh, trolled by fire bat, but he does get the torch glitch.
Get the torch glitch. He was really, really fast on the uptake there.
Wow! Before he teleported away, smbai just free. Nice. All right. GG for smbai.
GG smbai. Awesome, awesome time. Looks like it's going to be a 135.54 for him. Just about 5 minutes later, I guess 6 minutes later. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And a really, really good seed for both of these players. They had some great routing. Amazing Ampharos had like some great early game routing that paid off. He got that Butter Sword early, and I think he just held on to that slight lead over smbai, and it just helped his route out just that much more.
Oh, really quick, we should guess bonks on our runners. So before it shows up on Amazing Afro, how many bonks do you think he got, and how many bonks did smbai get? Now, Boots was sort of late, so the number might not be that high. I'm going to guess about 20 for Amazing Ampharos and for smbai both. I'll just do the same number.
I like how it said the winner is you, and he put up lies, lies,
Wow!
lies.
7 bonks! What is
That's
this
impressive.
number? Vitorp's the only one who guessed lower than the bonk, so I think he wins.
To be fair, Pegasus boots were one of the last items that Amazing Ampharos needed to complete the game. I think it was just Red Cane after that. So he didn't need to bonk into much at all in order to actually make progression in the game.
So, well, what a way to kick off with this nice close race that we had.
Yeah, awesome. And we're going to have a Zelda 2 randomizer and an exciting Zelda 1 randomizer race as well. I know it's going to be a blast. I know Jake Ober's looking forward to it too.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to both of these. I love all 3 of these randomizers. So
yeah, I've definitely played through all of them, and they're fantastic. I love all of them. Zelda 2 is a hard game though for me. I know it is, but I know it's going to be an exciting race to see the veterans play through it.
So I think our runners are going to pop in real quick for like a quick interview, a couple questions while Jay Cooper sets up the next race. But we have Amazing Ampharos here. There he is.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
Hey, congratulations. Nice race. Solid routing.
Thanks. That was... I think that seed really did show off the open mode pretty well, because it was, pretty out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the early game was really interesting because there was a lot of different options for you guys. And I think you picked the path that paid off the most. You delved into Eastern Palace after heading to Desert and grabbing that lamp. And that put you far ahead after getting the Butter Sword. I know smbai was, slowly working his way. I mean, you guys got silver arrows early, so that was pretty helpful, knocking out enemies. But he was trudging along without his sword for a while.
Yeah, the thing with the play in the Eastern, like in the closed mode, I never would have done that. But in the open mode, that one room is considered lamp blocked by the randomizers, so the odds of an important item being an Eastern are just drastically higher. Especially because I had early lamp, early bow, so I could get anything from there.
Well, that was definitely a good call. Huge benefit there. Just getting Butter Sword that early and open, and then you were just able to destroy anything that you came across. Silver Arrows and Butter Sword that early in an open mode seed.
Yeah, though in the end, all roads I figured would converge to the same place, because in order to beat Aghanim, you had to get that gold sword. I didn't see any other weapons available. You had to get the lamp from Eastern to get there, unless you like the dark, but most people don't. And then you had to get the flute off the pyramid ledge and use that to get
The hook
the
shot.
hook shot, and then that led you to the mirror? Or the pearl rather?
Yep.
Yeah, the Moon Pearl. Now, smbai actually did have the mirror before you, and he was able to go check Hera and some things, but he didn't have a sword when he went there the first time. Again, that kind of hurt his routing a little bit. But that was an advantage he had early on. So, based on getting that sword is what really skyrocketed you in the lead. But he was able to keep up with some of the dungeons and stuff. So it was really interesting to see the race. And once you found that red cane, it was really interesting to see the race.
So
Once you found
speaking of
that
smbai, here he is. Welcome. So
Hello.
speaking of smbai, here he
GG.
is. Tonight, nice race.
GG.
You were both very close. You both entered in go mode next to each other. But I think Amazing Ampharos just had one dungeon. He did Thieves Town early, so he had that one extra crystal. But that was it. You were both very close, finding the items almost at the same time. It was really nice to see.
Yeah,
I
I
had
thought
this-
about doing Thieves Town the first time I went into town, but then I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a one-chest Thieves Town. Pretty sure it's unheard of.
Yeah, we were
It's
commenting
either-
on that. That was amazing.
Usually
it's either
there's something
next
worth
to
there.
all or it's zero.
Yep. Or it has that one thing where you go in there, you don't have hammer, and an actual item happens to be in the big chest. That is annoying. And this one, just having you able to just run through Thieves Town, one chest done, that was actually sort of neat to see. You don't, like you mentioned, you don't really see that very often. I do have to say, I also liked your kill on Ganon. Somehow you were able to freeze him again before he even teleported, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah, I don't even know how I did that. I was like, I'll just swing my sword. Should be good.
So, what did you think of this seed, smbai? We just asked Amazing Ampharos. How are you feeling?
This
Early
was it was really interesting. The start of it, where it's just you get one item, and then it leads to 5 different areas, but there's only one item there, and then it leads to another few areas, but there's only one item there. Until you get into the dark world, and then it's everything is just there for you.
Now, how did it feel in the middle of the race? I mean, Amazing Ampharos, you were ahead pretty much since you got that butter sword. But did you feel like you were ahead as you were traversing through the light world, going on these winding paths, back and forth all over the place, trying to follow down these paths?
Well, I kind of figured at the point I finally got the Moon Pearl, we had a reasonable chance of being pretty close, because when I grabbed the flute off the pyramid, that was the last spot I had available in the world to me, so I'd full cleared everywhere else. But I looked at the sequence of requirements, and I was like, we're both going to have to do basically the same thing to get to this point. So it's how I play from here. I wasn't sure how early he was going to find that Cana area. It was really tempting to dive into Swamp, and that would have been a huge waste of time. There can't possibly have been anything useful in it. So I wasn't entirely sure. I was a little worried at my terrible Ganon's Tower. I promise I've done right side before, but
I was almost tempted to go right side because, you know, if you're behind, go right side and take the gamble. But I don't know. I was looking at my time and thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, it was
So I
still
thought I
really
was
fast
ahead.
lead. What is your like average time? Both of our runners here. What is your average time roughly open mode that you've seen? Like, is this sub 130, roughly 130? Like, how does that compare?
I mean,
Honestly,
I
I've
don't
only
actually think
done
the
one open
on
mode.
average is slower than the closed mode. My general link to the past average is 142, so this is pretty quick, but not like absolutely insane.
Yeah. Smbai?
Well, I can't really say for open mode because that's like the second one I've done.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's impressive considering it's the second one.
I
Wow.
mean, I couldn't tell. You were definitely acting like an expert. And I know there's a lot of similarities. Once you pick up the sword, and you had lamp early, so it pretty much probably felt the same as a casual mode seed. Just
More
a
or
slightly
less.
different opening since you don't really have a way to kill enemies until later on.
I was a little upset at myself because I did go into Eastern early to check
Right.
it, but then I left after like the first item because I realized that it was a
A
pendant.
dark dungeon. Oh, I thought you.
that it was a pendant. Because there is a dark area in that dungeon, which is why we thought maybe you were dissuaded.
And that's what you would need to get through to get the butter sword, which you ended up doing after you had map.
Yeah. Now, if I had just kept on going, it would have been slightly better.
Yeah, there were two big differences in this race, I think. AA getting that sword first, and then um, his extra dungeon in the Dark World was Thieves, whereas yours was Swamp, and I think that's a little more time consuming. But otherwise, you guys were right with each other the whole way.
Yep.
It was a really good race to watch the whole time, and I thank both of you for doing it, but especially you, Smbai, for doing this and agreeing to do a race. I'm sure that the commentators would agree and everyone in chat agrees that it was a good show and uh, worthy of showing off the randomizer and being part of this for sure.
And I'm really glad you were able to show this off, Smbai. And amazing Amphras for joining for the race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was glad to be able to participate. I really liked the open mode, but I am going to ask about one little thing because it definitely affected my decision making. So, there was traditionally a bug in the open mode where if you beat Aghanim before finishing Escape, you wouldn't be able to get back into Escape. So for marathon safety, I cleared out Escape, but I sure wanted to gamble and just fight Aghanim and skip those chests, which just had pieces of heart.
I think
Was
it's
I
still
right
the
to
same.
do that, or
I think so.
I think the biggest issue is that you can't do the you can't bonk the tree where the lumberjack tree if you um do escape after Aghanim, something like that. I don't know exactly what the issue was there.
Actually, I think there was a comment on it in the Link to the Past randomizer, like yesterday or something,
Yeah,
about after Aghanim. I think only Upper Hyrule closes, but bottom remains open.
So I think I need to know, was this a Stoops Jet seed?
Oh man, I would
I
have to
think it was
defer
somewhat
to
close.
I would have to defer to Alucard on his better judgment about that.
Almost certainly, absolutely. No, I think there were enough interesting paths earlier on in the game that it was not. But at a certain point, it really became that. Like both more or less, once you guys got to the Dark World, you guys were flying. I mean, you found those
Yeah.
last few items very quickly. Once you went to Hype Cave, there was so much value. I mean, you got Fire Rod and Boots in there, and you guys had done a really good job of thoroughly checking the light world. And you got the mirror at Zora, and then you had silver arrows to start, which was pretty amazing. So you didn't need too much to really go over the top once you got to Dark World. But that initial push did take some time, and was interesting to see both of you out.
So you know what might have saved me in this race, and it's a really funny thing?
What's that?
I forgot to check my first time in Mire, the Mire medallion.
Oh,
So,
right. Yeah.
A big reason I went back there, even though I could only finish Desert and couldn't finish Mire without Red Cane, was I wanted to know if I needed Ether. And that led me to Shovel, so...
Right.
Hooray for mistakes, right?
Hey, it was still a good choice. You could finish out Desert and anyways, and it paid off for sure.
And there are a couple items that you got to pick up in Desert if it happened to be there instead. So either way, not too bad. I will have to say it was interesting, like how late your was in the run, but yet just finishing at this time, like you guys were able to search and find those items. Like that's what you spent most of the early game doing, and then start doing dungeons. So it is neat to see like how quickly you can do dungeons once you start like getting in that mode.
Yeah, because like the way the rando works, it places the items one after another in a random order. If I had to take a guess, I would say Moon Pearl was one of the last items placed. And while that tends to really bog down the early game, it also really lets you fly once you finally hit it, because you have most of the stuff already by the time you get access to half of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Moon Pearl was pretty late, and then Pegasus Boots, like after Moon Pearl, like it's very late, like how late in the randomizer that was done. Like, and we saw like once you have Rod and Pegasus Boots, you're really just missing the cane, and that's it.
Well, Shovel as well.
Shovel being required.
Man, I was so disappointed but I never even needed it.
Mm.
Stupid.
So
Quake, I hate it.
that is one difference. As somebody, you actually missed checking the C-shaped house, so you missed out on magic powder, which wouldn't have made that much of a difference. But it could have locked a critical item, and we were a little worried about that. But then once we saw what you needed, it wasn't a big deal, and like magic power didn't actually lead to anything.
I was actually working my way up after when I had Thieves Town
Right.
and Skull Woods. After Ice Palace, I went to the warp below Link's house, and I was gonna do like this big C shape of checking like the Fluke Kid and the Haunted Grove, and then like work my way up to town. Yeah, all Stumpy. And then check the C-shaped house, go into Thieves, go into Skullwoods, and then check Bumper Cave and the Graveyard. That was my plan, but
I noticed you were cleaning up, and then of course you got the Cane of Samaria like right away, by the boy, the flute boy, and that was nice. And then you were just like, okay, I'm done. Just gonna go finish the game now.
Yeah. It's like go.
I also think it's funny just how many spots we didn't check, and how there can't have been any even vaguely useful items in them. Like, the fourth bottle is the only item of any use whatsoever I didn't find, and I checked very little.
Yeah, no idea where Ice Rod was.
The bottles. Every bottle had a B in it, whether it was golden or regular. That was amazing.
I found 3 B bottles, and hey, one of those Bs was really useful.
Yes.
I know.
It was crazy seeing both of you guys in the mini Moldorm cave at the same time, unleashing the bees. That was amazing.
Dude, that bee was the best.
And you can't tell the difference when you pull out the bottle, whether it's a gold bee or a normal bee. So when it came out and it happened to be the better bee, I was like, yeah, we're in there.
Had it been the regular bee, I think I had like 3 bombs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool the creativity that the open mode gives you early on in the randomizer. You really just have to think on your feet and use things. Like I saw smbai actually walk to grab the Quake medallion. I thought maybe this could be great for clearing some rooms in the future if they don't get a sword. And then as he was picking that up, I think you grabbed Butter's sword. But
Well, you can't use the medallions without a sword.
oh, true, good call. But I guess maybe you could have found Fighter Sword, which happened to be in Gandalf's Tower, which was hilarious.
Yeah, because we did have bombos at that time. We had
Yeah.
gotten it from Old Man, so we could have used that to kill things.
Yep.
But we couldn't because no sword.
So it looks like Zelda 2's almost set up, so I think we should wrap it up now. Thank you to both of our racers here for putting on that incredible race. Make sure you give them both a follow. And we have some more exciting Legend of Zelda.
Right, and
randos
I do
coming
want to
up.
mention one thing is that if you guys liked what you saw here in the Link to the Past randomizer, there's a big tournament that's happening right now. Both of these guys are in the tournament. I think smbai, you've played all your matches at this point.
I
But,
sure have.
but I know
I'm pretty
if you
sure
wanna
it's going
catch
to be
more of
all
the
of my
action,
matches.
yeah, if you want to catch more of the action, definitely check out the Speed Gaming and Speedruns Live, because there's going to be plenty of races of Link to the Past. But
And also Speed Gaming 2.
yeah, because that's
Secondary
going to be an
overflow.
ongoing tournament for a few weeks, and then that's going to complete the group stage, and then we're going to go to a bracket stage as well for that tournament. It's really a lot of excitement around that. There's hundreds and hundreds of matches planned. coming
I
up.
think we had over 100 people sign up, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 102 was the final count.
But you guys definitely don't want to go anywhere, because we have an exciting Zelda 2 match coming up.
Yeah, I'm
Right
curious
now.
about this run. I have never seen Zelda 2 run.
Oh, then you're in for a treat. The Zelda 2 randomizer is amazing.
It's such a bad enough game as it is. I don't know
Oh,
how much worse.
you did not say that.
You did not say that.
It's
I
the
beat
Zelda
it.
game
Hey,
that puts
hey.
chest hair on you.
Hey, I beat it once, and I was good with that. So I can talk about it all I want.
It's a difficult game, but it can be really rewarding to play the randomizer. And there's a lot of cool features in that randomizer, so I look forward to seeing this race.
I mean, it's hard enough
especially by
as
some
it
top
is.
players here.
What
So,
even is randomized in it?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. We'll definitely be talking about that.
Well, stick around. Give our runners a follow. Give all the runners a follow. Thank you very much for showing that race.
Yeah, great race, guys.
It was fun.
All right, thanks everyone, and thanks to our commentators, Alucard 2004 and Jed 082. Be sure to give them a follow. Thanks everyone. Feel free to move on out before I move you out.
Thanks.
Thanks everyone. Thanks guys. And now it's gonna be Zelda 2 coming up here.